Ben Askren versus Robbie Lawler, stoppage. What's your opinion, coach? That's from Med Yazin. Look, I gave that fight, I thought it was a fair win by Askren, okay? When you have a bulldog choke, look, bulldog chokes are legitimate chokes, okay? You can go out from a bulldog choke. I don't do bulldog chokes very often. It's not my style. However, I do use it once in a blue moon. Like the last time I've used a bulldog choke, maybe it was like 2-3 years ago, like in grappling sparring. It just doesn't come around very often. Why? You're scared that your opponent will take your back. You know, oftentimes when you do a bulldog choke, your opponent can get to your back. Like a skilled jiu-jitsu guy can climb up to your back, and that's just not good. However, there are times, like in the Askren-Lawler fight, where it makes sense to use. Now, don't forget, the first Canadian UFC champion in UFC history was Carlos Newton. Carlos Newton defeated Pat Miletich for the world title in UFC, and he used the bulldog choke. And he became the first Canadian UFC champion in history. So, do bulldogs chokes work? Absolutely. Can they put you to sleep? Absolutely. Did Robbie Lawler go to sleep? That I'm not sure. However, his arm did go limp. He had his arm up here. His arm went limp. In my opinion, Robbie Lawler has too much experience. He knows that when he's in a fight, if you drop your arm limp like that, what do you think a judge, what do you think is going on in the mind of a referee? The referee is going to err on the side of caution, as they always do. He's going to jump in, and he's going to break up that choke. Now, I saw the video where Robbie's arm goes limp, and then Herb Dean kind of talks, and like, you know, he gives a thumbs up before the break. So I don't think Robbie Lawler was out completely. I think maybe the blood, you know, was restricted to his brain, but not out completely. So I'm not saying that he was going to pass out. That I don't know. Nobody knows. However, and when I say nobody knows, I think even Robbie Lawler might not know. Okay, he might not know. Why? When you choke a human being out, the first thing they say when they wake up is, what happened? They lost a few seconds. They don't know. They weren't there. They were not conscious during the ordeal, right? They don't know what happened. They wake up. They're like, hey, the fight's still going on. I don't remember getting choked. They never remember getting choked. Okay, they might remember giving up their back or being caught in a certain transition, but usually there's a few seconds that's lost. And that's why they always ask, what happened? So, and it's the same thing when you get knocked out, right? Oftentimes fighters will wake up and say, what happened? Explain to me what happened. So, Robbie Lawler's not in a position to tell us who won. His arm went limp. He gave the thumbs up. In my opinion, the referee erred on the side of caution. We will never know if he was going to go out. Maybe he would have escaped. Who knows? But you got to give the win to Ben Askren. That kind of stuff happens. It's not Ben Askren's fault in the least. Ben Askren had a powerful choke on. To me, it looked like it was on. If you're asking me my opinion, I felt that the choke was on, and just a tough choke to escape. I think Robbie eventually would have got tapped in that position. Now, if I was Ben Askren, I wouldn't fight Robbie Lawler again. Okay, that for me is a clear win. If I was Ben Askren, I'll be happy with that win, and I'd want to go up the ranks. You know, I think Ben Askren is aiming for a world title shot, and to fight Robbie Lawler again would just delay his inevitable march towards the title. He wants to fight the next guy in line and the next guy in line. And you know what? The way the cookie crumbled in that fight left some controversy. I understand that, but at the end of the day, if I was Ben Askren, I'd want to move forward as well. So I've heard that he doesn't want to have the rematch, and I understand that totally. And I understand Robbie Lawler would want a rematch, and I think the fans would want a rematch, and I would definitely tune in to see a rematch, but I do understand the sentiments of Ben Askren. That means another training camp. That means another fight that I'd have to do again before I get to the title fight. So if I have to do 2 more fights to get to the title, it would turn it to 3. And those 3 months, anything can happen. I can be injured. I can, why do that to yourself? He's marching towards the title. He has a clear goal. This is it. He's at the peak of his career. He's either going to get to the title now or it's never going to happen. So if I was him, I think it's wise. He's not trying to do any detours. March directly to the title. Fight whoever you have to fight to get to the title. And I think he was very wise to show up in London. If Till would have won, it would have made it Till versus Ben Askren. But now I assume it'll probably be Leon Edwards versus Ben Askren or Masvidal versus Ben Askren. I still think he needs at least 1 or 2 more wins before he can fight Usman. And we'll have to wait and see how they match him up. But very interesting new contender now in the welterweight division in Ben Askren.